The Tempo Operations window provides several advanced tempo editing functions and can be launched by opening the Options menu and choosing Tempo Operations from the Tempo submenu, or by choosing Tempo Operations from a Sync pull-down menu in the Transport. We'll also open the Global Tempo track to give a better view of the results. The pull-down menu at the top of the Tempo Operations window is used to select the operation. Create Tempo Curve is used to create a string of tempo change events, resulting in a smooth tempo change over time. The start and end points of the tempo curve can be set using the position and time fields. Each of these parameters can be protected by clicking the lock icons. The beginning and ending tempi are set in the tempo fields. The Curve pull-down menu offers 3 curve shapes that can be fine-tuned with the curvature parameter. The density parameter determines how often events are inserted in the tempo list. If the Continue with New Tempo checkbox is selected, the last tempo event inserted in the list will be maintained. Otherwise, the original tempo will resume at the end of the curve. The display at the left side of the window gives a graphical representation of the curve. Once all parameters are set as desired, click Do It. If the results are not satisfactory, click Undo to revert to the original tempo and try new settings. Create Constant Tempo is used to create a constant tempo between 2 points. The default tempo is the average value of all the tempo events between the start and end positions. A different tempo can be specified if desired. Let's enter a new value of 106 BPM and click Do It. Scale existing tempo changes is used to speed up or slow down passages without altering any of the relationships between existing tempo changes. This helps preserve the relative feel of the tempo changes. The scale parameter determines the amount of change as a percentage of the original tempo. Stretch existing tempo curve is used to change the length of an existing tempo curve. The amount of change can be set using the new end time, new end position, or stretch parameters. The stretch parameter determines the amount of change as a percentage of the original curve length. Thin out existing tempo changes is used to remove unnecessary tempo change events between 2 points. The density parameter determines how many events will be retained per bar. Let's draw in a bunch of tempo changes and thin them out using quarter notes as the density setting. Make sure to set the position properly. Randomized tempo creates random tempo values according to the density parameter. The randomized parameter determines the maximum amount of deviation from the original tempo in beats per minute. Used sparingly, this can add a human touch to MIDI sequences. Remember to use the Tempo Alternatives pull-down menu to test different tempo settings or to bypass the tempo changes entirely. This can be helpful when you need to enter a new part at a constant tempo. That concludes a look at the Tempo Operations window. Experiment with these functions to add life and movement to your sequences.